Hi there, welcome to another painting tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to paint an amaryllis flower, so let's get started. And I want to start with a large flat brush. I have a size 11 and I want to put in the mid-tone values first. I have this beautiful moss green craft paint and I'm going to put that as the base layer for the stem. Okay, so this large brush is allowing me to get some nice, large, expressive brush strokes, and it's helping me to cover quite a large area. And this is probably one of my favorite shades of green. It's just so pretty. It's kind of an olivey yellow green. Okay, and then try to push down on your brush and then kind of lift up to get those shapes that you want. All right, and then while that's still a little bit wet, let's try to add some shadow. So I have this darker green, it's like an evergreen color. And I'm going to put that in some of the shades and shadows of the stem. So kind of on the left side is where the shadow is, and on the right side is where the sun is hitting. So just kind of place that dark value as a shadow. You can get some water on your brush if you need to. And kind of follow along with this sketch over on this side. Just a lot of kind of little lines that add some interest and some texture. And you can try to blend here as well. So just with a damp brush, go ahead and try to blend that darker color into the lighter green. Okay, and then we want to let that dry completely. And while that's drying, we can move on to the flower. So rinse off your brush, and we want to get a red color. I have this beautiful red. It's just a vermilion that came with my paint set, but you can use any red that you have. Just kind of a mid-tone shade. I'm going to take my spray bottle and add a couple sprays. It's just going to help my paint flow easier. And then with this red, I'm going to use the same large brush so I can cover a lot of area at once. And then let's just apply this beautiful red color. And hopefully you can see the sketch lines underneath. And while you're doing this, you can think about moving your brush strokes in the direction of form. So kind of making that shape that the petal is making. Just smooth, beautiful brush strokes. And try to get close to the edge of the sketch. And you have the green of the stem is going to be the opposite color on the color wheel of this red. So they're really going to make each other sing when they're placed together. I'm using that tip of the brush to get close to the edge where I have a little bit more of a point. Okay, and you can turn your paper as you need to. Just using the edge of that brush. Again, I'm going in the direction that the petals are. And make sure you use enough paint. Okay, and then come down here. Okay, and then you can see how the sketch is showing through, so that's what we want. Okay. And while that is, I'm just going to add a little bit more paint to certain areas, really getting a good shape in my brush strokes here. Okay, and now I want to put in some of the darker values, and let's use, I have this maroon color, just like a pre-mixed color. Let's see what it looks like if I put it on kind of the edge here. Okay, so it's pretty dark. I'm just gonna kind of feather it out and kind of cover some of these lines that we had in the sketch. I'm just building form here. I'm using the edge of the brush. It's giving us a nice contrast. Okay, let's cover up the sketch as best you can. Okay, and then we might have some darker values around the edges of some of the flowers. Go over here, we have a little shadow, and just on some of the tips of the flower can have a little bit of shadow. And you can use a smaller brush for this part if you need to. But you can just see how that darker value just adds a lot of detail, a lot of information that helps the mind kind of show that it's three-dimensional. It's really how you build form is with your different values, your light and your dark. If you want to be a good painter, that's something that you eventually will master. It just takes practice. Okay, I'm just kind of going around with this color. And it might dry a little bit darker as well. So that can kind of help things kind of go together a little bit better. And then don't forget to kind of step back and see what you've done, see what you like or what you might need to adjust. I might want to blend some of these colors a little bit with a damp brush. Just do a little bit of blending. Try not to do too much blending with acrylic. It's easy to make the paint look kind of smeared and messy if you blend too much, especially when the paint is kind of half dried. Okay, so we're gonna let that part of the flower dry, and let's go back to the leaves and the stem. And I think I'll switch brushes. I'm gonna switch to a size 6 round brush, and let's put some highlights on these stems. So for that, I'm gonna take some white paint, and I just want to put a few highlights. Going with straight white, but we're gonna kind of use a glaze after this. So just put some streaks where you would like a highlight. Try to think about where your light is coming from, where your shadows are. Okay, and then if I want to make those a little bit darker, I could go with another layer of the white. Just want it pretty opaque so it stands out quite a bit. Okay, and then I want to let that dry completely. And we want to do that same kind of idea with the flower, with the petals. I'm going to take a size 9 filbert, and I want to put in some highlights for the flower with the white. So there's quite a big highlight right here. And keep going with the direction of the form. I see a highlight over here. Then there's some over here. These filberts are great for flowers. They help you to get that round shape. Could do some stripes or some kind of striations if you'd like. Okay. And you might think that this white looks very harsh, but we're going to glaze over it. And I just want to kind of blend it a little bit. Okay, and then you want the center part to be dry as well before this next step. You could use a round brush. I'm going to use a size 0 spotter and some white paint. And we want to make those little, I think they're called stamens that come from the center out. Just very carefully. They kind of curve at the end. And you can draw these in first if you're not comfortable freehanding it. But you have a little bit of the sketch showing through, so you could try to kind of use that to help you. Okay, and then on the end, they have kind of a little shape like this that you could put. It's kind of like a teardrop shape. Okay, I might smooth it a little bit here. Okay, so it looks a little bit funny now, but you want to let it dry completely, and then we'll do some glazing and it'll all come together. So I'm going to take this size 9 filbert, and I have a little bit of glazing medium here. And I'm going to use this red because it is such a bright color. Let's add that to some of the medium. And then let's see if we can glaze on top of this white paint. And we might need a little more paint. And we can kind of glaze on top of that maroon color as well. And it'll make things kind of shine a little bit. And it just looks very beautiful. Just make sure you have enough paint so that you're getting some coverage. This is a Liquitex glazing medium, but you can use any brand that you can find. It's giving a little bit of texture to the paint. If you don't have glazing medium, you could use just straight water, but this gives it just a nice glossy effect. Okay, and then the white stamens in the middle. I could take a smaller filbert. I have a size 4 filbert, and we want a pretty transparent color. This yellow might be a little bit opaque, so I'll take a little bit of the pale yellow, a little bit of our lemon yellow. And then I might do, you could either get it fairly watered down, or I'm just going to add it to a little bit of the glazing medium. And then let's carefully put that on top of these stamens here. Okay, so that gives them their color and they're standing out. If you wanted to add a little more detail, you could try to kind of add some variety in there. maybe a little bit of a shadow. Okay, and then let's try this with the stem. So we'll do some more glazing. I'm gonna use that 9 filbert. And with this, what's left of the medium, I'm just gonna I have this beautiful electric green and yellow neon colors. Let's mix that with the medium. It's just a really, really bright color, and I wanna see what kind of effect it has on here. If you don't have a neon green, you can just use like whatever really bright green that you have. Okay, and that's just kind of sticking out as a nice highlight. It's really bright and beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna call this painting complete. I hope you got to try it. Thanks for painting along with me. Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos, and we'll see you in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching. Bye.